And welcome to episode 3 of the Game Report. We have some new faces. We have some different points of view. It's going to be a cool show today. We have on the end, we have the owner's son, so we're going to be on our best behavior. We had to pretty this up. We got some upgrades all around. We have Max DelBello over here on the right. He's going to talk about some nerd stuff we got going on later. To his left, we have Alex. He's up top, recently promoted, now leading the charge on the broadcast crew and kind of getting to be able to do some things that you want to do coming into it. So he has outside perspective. He gets to look down. He's kind of the voice of the Yalls right now. It's awesome to have him in the house. To my left, we got Dave. You got a haircut just for the show.
I mean, I had to get a haircut before we went on the road.
It looks good. You trimmed up this.
I didn't.
Not so puby. Oh. It looks all right. It looks good.
I do home. I got just to bring the mustache in, just to let you know who has a better mustache.
You do, man. I said, give me 2 more months. All right. We start off this week a little slow. 0-2, Washington for the 6th, 7th, and 8th time. Man, I will have to say, before we kind of kick off and start talking about the offense a little bit, I want to get you guys' opinion. They're better. They're better. I thought they were aggressive and had a pretty good offense originally coming in, but they brought in the Ward kid and the Hal kid, played them up the middle, and I thought they played well together. I thought they made some plays, and I also thought they got on base. It was kind of hard to keep them off base. But they made the dynamic of that lineup a little bit longer and a little bit tougher to pitch to, and I think that kind of got to us a little bit early. I'll talk about those young starters a little bit later. But what you guys see in that series, and for us to turn it around and end with that sweep of Quebec and finish up that last game in Washington on a positive note, what do you got as far as the offense? What do you see different, and what have you seen, Max? Because you've been here since the start. You've been in the dugout doing some of the analytics and the numbers. You've been around the guys, and you kind of see what Drew's working on, and you see the approach, and you see the mix of the lineup. It's changed a little bit, but it's for the most part, it stayed consistent in certain spots. What do you see about the lineup, and what do you see as how it's working, and what makes it work?
I think the biggest thing about the lineup so far has just been how deep it is. 1 through 9, you know, whoever's coming to the plate has a chance to get on base, make something happen. Especially recently, last few days, whenever Quebec would score, whenever Washington would score, you knew the offense would have a chance to come right back, make up those runs, make up the difference. So it's just been it's been really good to see. The offense been rolling recently, scoring lots of runs, putting together good at bats. So it's just been great to see, and I think the biggest thing is how deep it is. So there's no part of the lineup where you can just pitch right to him and get outs. So.
Come on, man. Okay, that's not what I want to hear. Here's what I want to hear. You're very critical of the skipper.
Me?
I don't say that in an outward way. I'm saying it's always easy to coach from the outside, and you like to push your numbers, and you like to see things happen because you're creative. We saw it last summer. I saw you coach at third base. I saw you take a foul ball off your shin. The hands aren't so good. But the way your mind works, you like to try different things in the offense. I'm going to put you on the spot here, and I'm going to ask you, make your ideal lineup. What do you got on this team right now? How would you, and I'm not saying do something different because obviously what we're doing is working, testing those same things out that you would do. But if you had one game to win and you're making that lineup, no matter the defense, I'm talking about the lineup. How would you make it?
I think I'd have Pintor leading off. I like that order of Pintor, then Sedio, then Crayport and Harry. I'd probably move them all up a spot though, so lead off Pintor, then Sedio second. I know he's like an ideal 3-hitter, but to me, hitting second, getting on base, maybe I'd even have Harry second because he gets on base a lot. But I'd want them more towards the top. I think Harry hitting 5th is a little low, so I think I'd want to move him up.
Give him some more ABs.
Yeah.
You did it on the numbers, OBP. Dave, now, do you agree Max taking out a guy who's had how many games has Bryant let off?
He's been really good.
He on base.
Hey, Max, you said your piece, bro. Alex and Dave are on the mic now. So,
I believe his on base is over 500 since he's been in that leadoff spot.
And Max wanted a high OBP early in the order. And he's got how many homers?
4 now, I think.
Yeah.
4 now?
He had 2 in the game that was split over 2 nights. And he sets the tone. He's a different kind of hitter. He's not your stereotypical leadoff guy.
Very good eye, though.
Yeah. Yes, right. And since he's been there, I think his walks have gone from 4 to 13. He had 4 in the first 2 games. He had the 2 home run game. He had 2 home runs and 3 walks, scored 5 runs. get on base ahead of those guys when, you have Sedia, who drives in runs, player of the week this week. DeNicola drives in runs, player of the week last week. Kind of deepens that lineup, like you said. Something that, was lacking a little earlier in the season.
Oh, definitely.
I think, like, just to start off the game, like kind of like you said, like, Louis is a very free swinger. You see him go, like, a lot of sliders, a lot of breaking balls in the dirt. For the first guy to hit in the game, I like Bryant just because he makes the pitcher work, and he's frustrating. For him to be the first guy the pitcher faces in the day, that's frustrating. You're throwing good sliders, you're throwing good breaking balls, you're hitting your spots, but if they're not where he wants to hit them or they're not there, he's not going to expand, he's not going to do that, and he doesn't really allow the pitcher to get in a groove, and he knows he's got to be dialed in as soon as he steps on the mound after his warm-up pitches.
I like how it rolls over with him too, because when the lineup rolls over with Brian at the plate, after he does big-time damage the first AB, when the lineup rolls over and they have to face him, even though he's a leadoff hitter, they pitch him different. And they're pitching him different, trying to make tougher pitches. He has a good enough eye to not swing at those, and so it allows the guys behind him to see more off speed, to see more pitches and kind of get their timing down. So it's worked beautifully. So Max, your numbers game right now, I'm not going to agree.
I like him in the leadoff spot. I would like to move Sedio, Harry up to get them more at bats.
I do like DeNicola in the 2-hole. I think he would be
Pintor down a little bit, but I don't know. I just want them to get as many at bats.
So many tough decisions because you have so many options that you could do.
I do like Brian in the leadoff spot. It's just,
You did put him there, though.
You didn't, though. You didn't put him there.
You didn't like him that much.
You didn't put
I
him
do
there.
like him. We'll see.
What about the turning around, Game 3? Talk about the vibe a little bit, and then I want to ask Alex kind of what it was like going in that Game 3, because we're trying to take that game right there. We had a couple tough ones, man. We got beat in those first couple games in Washington. Tell us about the vibe, the energy coming out for Game 3, and kind of there's some other stuff on the field that I want to get to and ask you about too, and ask everybody about. It was ejection city, baby. It was. And population what?
4, I think.
4. The town's growing, man. It's early in the season for that to happen in 1 week. But vibe going into Game 3, Washington. We know we need to pull one out.
Right.
What do you got from the clubhouse? What do you got from the energy that we saw in the dugout, different from the 2 previous?
Even before we get to Game 3, like the first 2 games, I feel like it was just kind of not lackadaisical, just almost like bored of playing the same guys over and over again. They're like, we beat up on these guys a couple times. We want to see some new faces. I feel like that's what it was.
Yeah.
And we weren't as locked in as we should have been. And then, like we said, so when we get to Game 3, I feel like after they beat us twice and we kind of almost beat ourselves. They won twice. We kind of beat ourselves.
Yep.
They're like, oh, shoot. All right. We're not messing around anymore. We got to get one right here. And they'll end up setting the tone for the back 3, which we ended up sweeping on Quebec, which was nice. But I think like the first 2 days, it was kind of just we weren't as locked in as we should have been. And the third day was like, oh, this is for real. Let's get this going here.
No, I agree. What did it feel like from up top? Because you guys see the outside of those games, what happened. But what do you have as far as going into that Game 3, knowing what it was from the outside too? Because we dropped that last one in Southern Illinois, so it was a 3-game skid at the time. But what did you see? What did you feel? And kind of what did you have as far as going into that one?
Well, and also, not only was it a 3-game skid over the season, but it was 3 in a row lost to Washington. If you remember all the way back to the beginning of the homestand, lost that last game against them. So maybe it was like, all right, we won the first, I think, 4 against them. Now, all right, we've lost 3 in a row. They can actually beat us type thing. But it was a mindset of we have to get ahead early, score first. And that really translated into the Quebec series where you scored first in every single game, and went on and dominated that game. Didn't just play the first 3 innings. You played 5, 6, and 7 and then let the bullpen dominate with the runs that you had.
Yeah, I agree. It was cool, and I will say that you're right. That you hit that on the head. Was that did jumpstart us, because that first game against Quebec, when we came in, we put up those runs early, and it set a tone. And what it did, and what some people won't see from the outside, is really what it did. What it did to the Quebec pitchers. The gauntlet that they saw when the offense was rolling. Drew said it. He said it last week. He goes, I'm not really paying attention so much because I want the offense to be rolling by week 3. Week 3, it was rolling. By the end of this week, and we're going downhill as fast as it could be. The lineup's turning over, and guys are getting beat up on the mound. And it happened in that first game enough to where they had to pitch 2 position players. And And, they had to throw some guys out there in situations and ride them a little bit longer. And we had to do that earlier in the year. But our guys weren't pitching to our lineup, and they were. And so every single reliever came in, you could see it on their face, like, oh baby. Like, I got to go pitch to this guy. Oh, this guy's next. Oh, man, he just did this. So it set a dynamic for that series and set that sweep up. And I kind of want to hit on those starters in a minute, but what else you got, Alex?
Well, I think, to that, seeing the lineup that they had to face, it also got in their mind to where I can't put a mistake over the middle of the plate, which caused them to nibble on the outside corners, couldn't hit their spots, walked a lot of guys. I think it was 10 walks, 5 hit by pitches in that one game where the Yalls scored 20 runs. That set the tone to where, all right, the hitters at the plate can eliminate a lot of stuff out of the zone, sit one pitch, and that's when you have 4 home runs in a game like you did on Sunday.
Yep. That turned into something else, too, for our starters, and it was against that Washington series. Playing them so much, like you said, it's comfortable. We've seen them a lot. And it's like our starters wanted to take a different plan of their own because they pitched against them, had some success. And then I saw some of our young starters almost, they out-thought themselves. They tried to do more than they had to, and thinking that they had this one way to get them out. And as soon as that game plan didn't go their way, they started rushing to try and get back in the zone. It got hurt a little bit coming back over the middle. And we've done that. We've took some lessons, and and it is so early, and we're 16-7. And I like to judge starters and relievers in clumps. So it's like a starter, I'm going to look at him in 5 starts. 5 starts total. Let's say he's going to have 1 good one. He's going to have 1 bad one. He's going to have 3 that's going to tell you who he is. So if you judge a guy off 1 outing at a time, you don't really know who he is and what he's thinking about consistently and what he's focused on and what his priority is. But you can over time. So we're getting to that point now where they're running into their 4th and 5th start, and they're learning some lessons, and we're getting to grow, and they're getting to see stuff that applies and that they can take out to the mound. The deliveries are cleaning up, and we're getting to see their strong sides of the plate. That's something else I want to talk about with Max as far as and somebody else we're going to bring on too on the player side as far as it helps delegate some nerd work, Jared Cheek, a.k.a. MacGyver. We're going to bring him on a little bit too, but talk about some cool things we got as far as helping guys see, with charts and zones where they do get their outs and where they are most successful. So we're getting to that point. Relievers, I like to judge them in sets of 10s. They're going to have 2 good ones. They're going to have 2 bad ones. And they're going to have 6 others that defines who they are, kind of, so we can build off of. So we're getting to that point where we're getting those outings in. The first month is wrapping up a little bit. But I thought the Washington series, we got away from our strengths and we tried to pitch to a team because we faced them so many times. It's like, I got to do this, rather than sticking to our strengths. I mean, that was something, and I don't know if you could feel it. We talked about a little bit in the dugout. It's
100%.
like, what are we doing right here? We got to control these counts rather than trying to make a pitch to this guy to get him out. It's like, no, control the count, and it unlocks your ability to use your strengths, and it makes it easy and not difficult in searching.
We're seeing like guys, certain guys using pitch sequence that you talk about that they wouldn't typically use, and it was just there was no real explanation for them. We've gotten guys out using this sequence before. Why are we going to completely scratch that just because the guy's seen it before? Yeah. There was no real reason.
You're right. It goes back to that outthinking. You're trying to outthink a hitter in the box, and the hitter in the box
doesn't know what he's doing anyway.
He might be thinking, oh, please don't throw me a fastball in, but the pitcher on the mound is like, oh, don't throw a fastball in because he thinks I'm going to throw a fastball in, and if I do, he's going to hit it. And the hitter's going, oh, please don't do that. So, you kind of get these 2 things going on. It's just handle what you need to handle, take care of your strengths, and you'll be fine. Ejection of the week. We had 4. Alex Max, top ejection. And I want to know if all of them were justified. From outside looking in, and then I want Dave, you're a little more heads up with them. You get to spend a lot of time with them over there at first base, and you get to hear everything in the dugout. Yeah. So, outside perspective, best toss and reaction. Go.
For both teams, you have to go with the
Washington, us, and Quebec.
True. Yes. Right. That's exactly it. But 3 managers, all 3 got tossed eventually at some point. But I mean, Tom Vaith kind of laying down around the home plate, making sure you can tell what's fair, what's foul, whether he hit the ball or not. That was pretty entertaining. Now he had a lot of time to talk before that.
Did.
He had I think the clock was about 5 minutes. Then you go down to the next day, and Brian White gets ejected for saying a word.
In the second inning?
Yes. So I thought that was a little interesting. It was the same umpire with the issues. It had him hear the entirety of the homestand for both series. He had a little bit of a tough week. I think all 3 managers that were in town noticed that and kind of jumped on him.
Yeah.
I think mine would be Quebec's manager.
that was
I think it's because there's no fans, so you heard everything.
Everything. You hear pin drop.
Absolutely everything. So after he got tossed, he kind of went off, and it was pretty funny to see being right there. And he was pretty loud, and you heard every word. So I think that was probably my top one.
You're down there with him.
Yeah.
You talk to them. You have conversations. You have conversations on a personal level and on a work level as far as about the job.
Yes.
The guys aren't bad guys, and they're doing a job. It's a difficult job. But do you think that umpires, and this is no knock if they don't, but do you think that they put in the same amount of effort, time, care, and appreciation for their job every single day to get better like the players and we do? Do you think they put in the time to come in and expect to be better? Or I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to let you take it away.
I feel like to a certain extent it's hard to practice umpiring. However, I feel like the level of focus during game time isn't always there. You'll see me out there talking to him, whatever, but I always know what the count is. I know where our outfielders are. I know the situation, and I'm waiting for something to happen to use that information, whereas I feel like sometimes they're talking to me, and they're not aware of all of that, and they're just in the conversation, and then when something happens, they're like, oh, shoot. Now I don't know what's going on.
More reactive than proactive about what could happen type of thing.
And I think the other thing is, like, they don't want to admit that they're wrong. You can admit that you're wrong or you didn't see something. There have been multiple times where, at least in our dugout, where something happens, or, I send a guy in a bad situation, or we make a wrong move or something like that. There's accountability. So, I shouldn't have sent him there, or I should have waited for this pitch instead of that. Whereas, a couple times yesterday there was, like, how did you not see that, or something like that, where it's like, they said, I just didn't see it. It's not, oh, my bad, I didn't see it. I'm going to get it next time. It's just, it's very defensive. We're not attacking you. We just want it to be done correctly.
Yeah, it's not personal. This is all business to us, and we just want to make sure that they understand how serious of a business it is when some of these calls, and each call behind the plate, too, and I know guys are going to miss pitches. And there's the stat, something I read this offseason, because there's like 30,000 pitches missed in the big leagues, and so it was an average of 3 or 4, I think, an inning. It was something. Maybe it was like 2.5. I don't know what it is. Max, you're a number guy,
I mean, we've gotten all the percentages this year. They're not great.
We do. So there's pitches missed.
There's a lot of pitches missed.
Yeah, and there's pitches missed, but they're not going to be perfect. We know that. But it's what happens to me, and what I see is the pitches that are missed, they're in big spots, man. They're in crucial spots where the count flips, or, a call's made where it changes the momentum, and it's almost like the game speeds up on them because they're not aware of the gravity of the situation. And this game right now is like, hey, man, this game is pivotal on this count, on this situation right here. Now it's 2-1, not 1-2 on this close pitch we've been getting all night type of thing. And it changes the feel a little bit. But I get it. It's early for them, too. They've only been behind the plate probably each 4 or 5 times, maybe. So they see different arms, see good arms, see bad arms. I just suspect there's a high level of a standard for our players and what we're doing on the mound. We're not up there just throwing pitches. I mean, some guys are, but we have an idea. We have a plan of execution and attack. And so we're working on different parts of the zone. And so I want that to be acknowledged, when they come into here at our place, and not have the worst percentages at our place than any other percentages that are given out. I mean, that's just numbers. They're there.
Should be the same.
So don't expect perfection. I don't think anybody expects perfection. I just expect to be locked in every single moment to the job and not personal to things that are being said. Going in that job, somebody on either side is not going to like each play. It is what it is. And so it's being able to have enough skin to be able to stay locked into the game and what's going on with the game rather than going outside and making it personal.
Yeah. And some guys, we step away and say, hey, you know what, this guy works hard, and he's in the right position, and he pays attention, and he misses a call. It's hard to be mad at him because we know he's always in the right spot, and he's hustling around, he's trying to make the right play, and he just might not see it. It happens.
Yeah.
But when guys get lackadaisical, then it becomes frustrating.
You're right. enough about them umpires, man. I like those guys. I like some guys,
I like them
man.
too. I hang out with them for 9
You
innings
see
a day.
Cedric?
He looked great.
He looked awesome, man. Good for him. Good for him. He looked awesome. That's all I gotta say. He looked good.
Yeah.
Umpires, I'm over, man. I just want to know the good note. Cedric, you look cool, man. Look good.
He's going out to Vegas. He had to look good for his Vegas trip.
Is that what it was?
Oh, yeah.
He looked really good. Take care of himself. Max. Let's talk about a little bit of the N.E.R.D group, man. People, we've been hearing about things. Twitter's rolling. You're getting. I heard that on Twitter you're getting a little bit of a. I mean, what do you want to call it? I mean, there's no copyright to what we got going on, but
people taking our exact bio and putting it in their bio with their team name. It's kind of copying, but we were first, so that's the way we like it.
Yeah, first or last.
Yeah. Yep.
Ricky Bobby's dad too.
Well,
what do you got going on though in the room? Because you're putting together some really cool packages. Other than just stuff that you post, there's way more than that. We not necessarily allowed to give the Yakra Tech, but we're not going to give all our really good dope out online for everybody to see. We package that up for scouts and people to get pushed out of here. But what do you got in the package? And how are you setting that up? How are you liking the information that you have available and your crew? You got a really good crew with you too.
Yeah, so I think the two main things we're doing are obviously packaging stuff up, getting it out to teams, hoping to get guys signed, but we're also using it to help our own pitchers mostly, help them develop, help them be able to pitch the best they can. So a lot of the packaging stuff we've done, you see some of it on Twitter. That's a lot of the basic stuff, the velo, spin rate, stuff like that. But if you go into what we do in the packages to send out, is we include breaks, all that sort of stuff to make the pitches stand out, make certain pitches really that pitchers have, like excel, and things you don't just see on the surface, but really when you look into it, the scouts can see that, the teams can see that, and then from the player development side, the Baseball Cloud, Yakra Tech gives us a few different things to work with. So one that I think a lot of pitchers have liked is you can kind of see a zone. It kind of shows you where you're getting swings, where you're getting swings and misses, where people are making contact. So it really just shows pitchers like where in the zone they should be pitching, where they shouldn't be, what spots they should be trying to hit, where they should avoid.
Yeah.
Stuff that's really useful, and I think them being able to see that graphic and that chart with the colors, with everything, really makes them realize, oh, maybe this actually works for me or this doesn't. And so that's very simple stuff, but then there's also a lot of the spin rate stuff, all that sort of stuff, which you don't like, but
it's not that I don't like it. It just shouldn't be a priority.
Right. But that looks good to teams, so you put stuff like that together to teams, to scouts, and that's what they want to see. And we're putting together packages for players, hoping to get guys signed, and it's been going well. Have a couple great interns and doing I think a pretty good job.
Doing a pretty good job. We'll get them on here in a couple weeks too. Kind of break them in a little bit. But I want to ask you one more too. You started putting out these packages. Put these in guys' lockers. I think it's a really cool idea. I thought it was professionally done. A nice little picture. It had a little blurb about their stats, but then in the package had their little zones and all this stuff. And we're so early as far as the information you have, and that's going to get better and better. You got one for the hitters too, right? You could see some of those hitters packages.
Yeah,
they're pretty sweet, man.
They're nice. Like the hitters love them because it helps guys dial in on their approach. Like one of them is their heat map almost of like what pitches they hit well and what pitches they don't hit well. And it's really nice for me and Drew because we can go in there and say, hey, look, man, you hit the low pitch really well, but you're swinging through everything up in the zone. So either let's work on hitting up in the zone, or let's just take it out of our approach and work in zones that we work well in.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So it's really nice.
It's been really cool. Max, I want to thank you, but I want you to pass the stick to player protege and help Jared Cheek. Yeah. Thanks for coming, Max. We'll bring you on when you bring your other N.E.R.D crew on and have the whole gang.
Fun to be here.
I'm Jared Cheek. I'm from Athens, Georgia.
How's it going?
It's going, man.
Going good so far?
It's going good so far.
What we got?
So, Dave, what is it that you've been wanting to ask Jared Cheek?
How did you go about making your VR and getting all your slots in there like that? Like
Okay, well, you jumped in too fast. Yeah, I shouldn't ask you anything, but I was just buying myself time to think.
All right, there you go.
Jared
Now
Cheek.
you got time.
You're still going to ask the same question.
All right.
You bought me time
Ready.
to jump in and cut you off. That way you can make yourself better. So, you wear a lot of hats, man. You do a lot of stuff. I know you got you hem all the guys' pants, the team seamstress.
I try.
Yeah, you iron on some or you can do the cricket thing and cut these out. You kind of do some house-making stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
You created some bullpen phones for us. You run that line, you fix them out, chop that up. You make your own bats, right? You still got that thing?
Yeah, still
I'm
do,
going to have
yeah.
to get a fungo, a shorty, tapered handle. It'd be nice. Something sooner or later. But you also have, you created your VR program. I want to let you kind of talk about that and introduce you, man. You had a really good career. You were Georgia, the Cubs for a little bit. Showed up in a tryout here, kind of out of the blue 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Out of the blue, and got picked up. And tell me about your experience, a little bit more about yourself as far as the journey to get here and how you're being able to give the freedom to apply what you want to do and your future and kind of your aspirations in baseball.
I would say when I got done playing with the Cubs, going back to school is really kind of the turning point. Finishing my computer science degree is what did it. Kind of changed my logic with baseball, and it kind of wanted me to play again. It's weird, the computer side wanted me to play again just because I felt like doing that with lessons, I started learning myself a little more. So the moment I realized, and it was only 2 months before I did the tryout, that I wanted to do it again, and went to the tryout. Everything was great, and just started applying the things that I've kind of been practicing for about the past 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And it just started rolling, started doing well. I started improving on my app that I developed. Started messing around with the VR. That's when I started videoing myself and then just flipping it to have a lefty side.
You had that,
Yeah,
right? You had
yeah.
the field, the Florence
I
replica.
3D modeled the field and everything.
But you do throw right-handed and left-handed, but on the VR it's all righty. You just flip it to
Yeah,
the
it's
left,
righty, and I just flip the image,
Okay.
and it's lefty, so it looks better than if I were to actually do lefty. So
Maybe. I don't know. You got a pretty good, decent action, left-handed.
I was able to get the 3 angles too. So if you want submarine, you want sidearm, you want overhand, and it just flips, and it's disgusting. I had Jonathan Tripp on it, and he was freaking out at how much spin there was. Probably 94-mile-an-hour sliders as a submarine lefty. Like it's.
So what plans do you have? Because we talk about some new things that you want to implement with that this year. You said you're working on the Oculus or the different one too.
The Quest 2. Yeah.
The Quest 2, but there's some things we talk about with the pitchers to help development that you could do that you want to do this year. What do you got on that?
Yeah, so we can get a green screen going in the cages, and we can get the pitchers pitching off of the mound in the cages and get some video and have that cut up and just throw it in there pretty much just like how mine is already. Mine was a little different, but this is going to be way better. And have them throwing off the mound and have some of the statistical stuff that we have right now to recreate the pitches and the at-bats and things like that to get the pitchers facing themselves, so they can go in and see how great they are on certain pitches, what their pitches do, how they play, and pretty much gain some confidence with how well their stuff plays. And I think that would be a great idea to be able to get to know yourself a little better.
Yeah.
Maybe look at something and say, hey, I think I can improve there, because I myself would, turn on that and put it over the fence. So, certain things like that, and I think it'd be a great idea.
That's very cool.
Brought that up earlier, and we kind of spawned that idea. That would be great for pitchers to be able to do that, because earlier this week we got to hit off the machine. So ways that pitchers can understand how hard it is to hit can help help their pitchability.
Yeah, I like that. We did a little something that was new. We put pitchers in the cage. We have a couple of pitchers BPs to get ready for on the field. But I wanted to have an element where the pitchers were seeing 90 miles an hour, seeing what it looked like, seeing how difficult it is to hit, but also how easy it is to hit if you continuously throw the same speed in the same spot, because you can catch up to it and you can see it. And also, some of the balls cut a little bit and they run a little bit, and nobody liked that it was the same speed, but it moved a little bit. I mean, so there's got to be some light bulbs go off in your head as far as understanding of how hard it is to hit, but also at the same token, easy if I don't move it around, and if I do, stay the same. So, but I like the VR because you can see their different angles. I mean, it's a really cool idea. Now, Dave, back to the question of what you wanted to ask Cheek, since he can probably give you a little more info. Grill him, man. Ask him something hard. He's got a way better beer than you, so you got to at least ask him. Stump him.
Let's go, Dave.
Stump him.
Stump him? Is there a way to use Max's Yakkertech technology with the spin rates and the tilt angle and all that and put that in your VR so you get accurate? Like, if your ball cuts a certain amount, 2 inches, can we get it going like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't ask a yes or no question to stump a guy.
And then how long would that take to do that?
There we go.
Given the 9 to 5 hours, I would say it'd probably take about a week or two on top of a scheduled plan, give it on the side. I love to do it anyway, so it's not anything that you're twisting my arm to do. But I'd say, being able to tinker with it, I mean, even the apps and stuff that I made, I was able to get them done right away. But as I was able to apply them, I started realizing how more efficient I could make them. So I think it would be, I could get it done like that, and then we just got to tinker with it and get it looking a little better, looking a little more right, a little more, realistic, things like that. But I think, being able to put them in the virtual reality and having something that plays, you could do that fairly quickly, and then being able to add the Yakkertech stuff, that would probably be a better way to go about it. And I think it would, 2 weeks at most, 3.
That'd be cool. I think that what you could do too is with the hitters. A hitter doesn't know his stance. I mean, when you throw BP to a guy, or you're seeing a guy in the box, there's certain things that you're naturally going to want to do and throw to him because you see the angles and the holes that are exposed. And I don't think necessarily hitters see themselves from that front angle and see what they look like in the box and see what pitchers are naturally trying to do because of what's exposed. So it could be a cool thing to get a front view of the hitter swinging, and show him, like, hey, if you were throwing to you, where would you throw you? And see if that matches up with the numbers and stuff that kind of correlates with where they hit the ball hard and all that. So I think that'd be cool too.
Absolutely.
So there's 2 more weeks. You got 4 weeks of work, man. You need to get to cracking. What we're going to do, I'm going to pass off to Alex in a minute, but I want to thank you for coming in. I'm sure we'll bring you back in. You're a part of Max's N.E.R.D squad on the player side.
Thanks for
I appreciate you coming. But I want to bring in this guy over here, sitting down real quick, and then let Alex take off with his last couple minutes spill before we head out of here. So, Kee, clubhouse manager, come and take the nice warm seat MacGyver left you. Oh, baby.
He's without a sidekick right now. He doesn't know
Oh,
what to do.
baby.
What's up, guys?
How we doing?
I'm good. How about y'all?
Secret to being a good clubby.
I would have to say,
Is it clubby? I don't really like the term clubby. It's easy for us to use personally. I just think it's like calling a guy clubby. It's like it downplays the actual work that gets put into it. There's a lot of work. Clubhouse manager is what I consider you as, but I'm going to call you clubby, and I usually stick to Kee. But secret to being a good clubhouse manager, which you are. Walk me through a little routine and walk us through a day, because nobody understands the time that you put in. You put in more hours than me, man, and I get 4 or 5 hours sleep a night. I don't know how you do it, so walk me through that.
yeah. First of all, I think the secret to being a good club is just having a relationship with the coaching staff and the players, like deeper than just seeing them like on game day, like just hanging out with those guys behind the scenes. But the routine, like you
got a lot of you like that stupid watermelon Arizona tea. You got that thing flowing through your veins all day long. I'm a full throttle guy, you know that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it is relationships. But the routine. Tell me the time you gonna wake up. What are you doing when you get to the field? What are you doing during BP? What are you doing during the game? What are you doing after the game? What are you doing when everybody else is gone and sleeping?
Okay. So usually on a game day, I'm trying to be here 11:30.
This is a 6:30, 7 o'clock game.
Oh yeah, 7:04 game. Trying to be here about 11 o'clock, 11:30. When I get here, go have a little quick conversation with the skip, the coaches, see how they slept, see how the night was. Then from there, it's time to put my assistant to work. From there is putting my assistant to work and really just making sure all the small odd things are taken care of, like getting game balls rubbed up, making sure the stuff for BP is already at the field while we don't have to waste any time on that. Getting the away clubhouse ready for the away team that's about to show up.
Yep.
Making sure all the guys have all their pregame ritual, all the stuff that they like to have before games, make sure that stuff is taken care of. And then usually when the game starts, we're getting BP stuff taken care of. A lot of guys like to put that stuff on and get a workout in after the game. A lot of guys like to wear that stuff home. So getting that stuff taken care of and getting like food and, beer and stuff like that for after the game. Then after the game, of course, trying to take care of the umpires, get them their checks, make sure they're taken care of, watching over the away team, make sure they have everything they need before they leave.
You ever held out a check? You ever held on to one of those checks? Ah, man, I got lost. Sorry, you get an extra.
No, not really. Actually, my assistant Hayden Stem, he held on to one the other day in that long game. He forgot to give the umpires their check because the game got postponed to the next day, so we just gave them both their checks the next day. But usually after everybody finally clears out of the clubhouse, that's when like the hard work, I guess.
And that's like midnight.
Starts.
Yeah. We're gonna start till midnight.
Usually about midnight, 12:30. We got a little routine of doing our loops and the away team loops and getting the jerseys done and hung up because we don't want to dry those or mess those up in any type of way. And we usually get out here around 2:30, 3 o'clock every day. And I let my assistant go home a little early sometimes because he's young. He's not
dragging in the morning, man.
Yeah, he's not used to the clubby lifestyle. So try to get him out as soon as possible, and I stick around to make sure like little odd and end stuff is done because when I was first hired in 2019 by Dennis Pelfrey and Drew Martinez, they said our team is only as good as our clubby. So I try to be on top of things, try to make sure everything is taken care of, and make sure it starts with me.
Yeah, you do a good job. I mean, the place is always clean, smells good, and you keep the vibe up. Everybody likes being around you. I mean, it's cool having you there, but Dave, you gotta have something. You gotta have something that you wanna. I don't know. You want to talk Kee on air? Man, he can't lie to you. He can't lie now.
Kee's my boy.
I know.
Ke's my boy.
Ask him something hard.
Ask him something hard. I don't know what I gotta ask him. Everything I ask him, I've already asked him.
Something he's got to answer on air.
Man, I don't know. I don't know.
Leave
what do you got? I got nothing.
No, I'm gonna hand this off to Alex.
I got nothing.
Alex, we got 2 minutes.
Yep.
You can go rapid fire questions to anybody on this panel. You could talk. I want you to talk about kind of where we're at, what you saw this week, what you saw with the team, and what you like about it, and the mix, and the stuff that you see that we're doing that's working, and what's not. I want to see the outside perspective. Shoot.
Well, we kind of touched on it. 0-2 start the week, then winners of 4 straight. I think the biggest difference between the beginning of that series and towards the end was how the hitters, they felt like they belonged at the plate. I think at the beginning they were like, oh, I'm just kind of here hoping to hit the baseball. Yep. And when they were doing damage, when they had the 4 home runs, when they had took their 10 walks, when they were, getting situational hits, they were up there, all right, I know I'm going to get a hit. The confidence was there. The bullpen also has come out, done their job. First, I'll ask you about Frank Valentino a little bit. He's still trying to find that thing. It's basically that 4th, 5th inning where he kind of finds trouble. So, something that I've noticed from up there is a lot of times when he gets in trouble, he's wild up and away to lefties and up and in to righties. Is that something that he's not finishing his pitches? Is that something he's, just when he's trying to hit that spot up there and his ball's moving too much? Or what is that? And when he leaves that ball up, he gives up some damage.
Yeah, we're not necessarily trying to work at the top with Frank. There was a few things we worked on posturally with his delivery. We kind of talked about his posture and stacking it better. And I thought for the first 3 innings yesterday that he did a really good
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
And that kind of issue starts leaking in when he gets 2 strikes and wants to try and do too much. And so he gets ahead of himself and kind of rushes forward, arm lags a little bit, and so his pitches don't have the command and drive that he needs to be successful. And I think after that home run that he doubled up that slider where he shouldn't have to a guy that we've been beating hard with fastballs. He kind of ran him into that slider, and I think he kind of got back into the mindset of wanting to do a little bit more athletically, and so he kind of got back into that. I can't say he got out of what we were working on, and that was the reason why. Another factor to that to me was that the recall the second time through, he had a good plan. We talked about this. We had a good plan going through the first time of the order, and he had success. He drove some really good pitches. He set up his fastball with that curveball. They never got to time it well, and so they never got to see consistently him staying in one spot with one velo. He got to move some pitches a little bit, and he dominated that first time through. The second time through, I thought he tried to change his script a little bit, and when he missed, according to the script that he hit on the first time through, it was like searching now. It's searching like, okay, what do I do to get back in? And that left him working a little bit more east and west, which left him more elevated and around the thighs, and so it left him exposed to get hit. And so, the kind of the talk that we went back to was driving the bottom. Find the bottom. That way I can drive my pitches through and really separate. I'm going to get east-west. He throws a little two-seamer that runs, but if I'm trying to go on the corners, I'm going to push it off a little bit. If I'm trying too much of this, I forget about this. And so I want good down quality and I want good up quality. We're talking about staying out of the hitter's underwear. I want to stay here and I want to stay below the knees. So finding those spots, he kind of gets lost a little bit, and that the delivery with the posture helps. So I'm hoping that he does continue to learn from this. And, he's got a good head on his shoulders, and he takes these in stride. And I know he's just as frustrated as anybody else, and if not more, and wants to make that better. So it's being able to have a calm, clear mind, which he does, and pull the good lessons and not continue to repeat those. So to me, it was recall. A little bit of those changes we worked on, I saw some success, and then probably got away from that because his priority at the time at that point was limiting damage and not necessarily trying to work on what I'm doing with my delivery and staying in my posture. So I'm excited about Frank's next start and continue to see where he takes the first 3 and doubles that over and the second time through and goes through 6 and kind of helps us get on a roll too.
Another big thing that I saw in the difference between that losing streak and then that sweep was the players played with more emotion. And I think the exclamation point on that was Joe Doherty getting that final out on the strikeout after one of those controversial calls. Kind of jumped up there, pounded his fist, got a nice little yell out there. Some good photos taken as well all over Yalls social media.
It was really cool. I like that. And I don't think I don't say it as emotion. I say energy. I thought the energy was really good, and so it comes out in the passion to me. And it wasn't to me when I would talk to these guys about pitching emotionally. It's usually with a negative connotation where it's don't get emotional where it's personal. It's business, and if you do your job the right way with the right mindset, you're going to have success. And you can control your energy. Emotions are going to happen to you, and I thought the motion after the game of the adversity that he overcome that inning was what shot out. But I thought he pitched, and I thought we all pitched with really good energy. There's a lot of good energy that we're always attacking. We knew what we wanted to do, and we did that. And I thought the emotion you talked about boiled over at the end of it when he did overcome that and really stayed through and blew that guy's doors and got that big punch out and save. Man, I thought it did come through. It caught it right at the right time. That picture's sweet. Put that up.
Oh, it's up. It's up. Now, also with that, the energy was in the stadium too. With guys, you don't want to be with numbers. We kind of talked about numbers on this one. Sometimes they get a little too robotic in there. Yep. You're around them all the time. How do you make sure the energy's up? It's a grind, 96-game schedule. Go through a little bit of a losing streak on the road, coming back home. Same team you're seeing all the time. How do you make sure that energy's up so you keep the fans involved?
Yeah, you can kind of tell, we got our energy leaders. Louis is always excited, always dancing, always having a good time. Harry and Trevor Crayport is one of the sneaky energy guys. You see him after he hits a big bomb. He doesn't seem like a guy that's big into bat flips, but if you play it back a little bit, he likes to get some air under there. He has some fun.
Yeah, he hits the ball hard, man.
He has fun with it, but keeping the energy up, just staying loose. It's a long game. Some guys get down early in the game. Hey, we still got 7 innings left. They put up a 3 spot, and we've seen we put up 20 runs in one game. We can put up the 3-4 spot. Just keep the energy up.
Yeah.
and keep doing that. Staying loose, like guys get worried about missing pitches. Dude, bro, you're gonna get 3-4 more at bats. He's gonna throw it to you again, and you're gonna get your opportunity. And you see it. Guys will get out on the first at bat. Harry's one of the best, almost comeback hitters I like to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like guy fools him on a changeup, maybe his first time. I got him on that changeup last time. Comes back with it, bah! Like he did it yesterday. Got him out front with that changeup.
Mm-hmm.
Next time, deposited in the street over in right field. So, that's the kind of energy we like to have. Is upbeat, but staying within our approach.
Yeah, one more for Kee, if I could. I wanted to ask you this a little bit earlier, but you've been around these guys quite a bit. You've been around this franchise quite a bit as well. Now you get to see their personal side a little more than the fans on the field a little bit. Sometimes they like to goof around a little bit. What's your funniest or weirdest story that you've had that you've seen in that locker room?
Funniest story, goofy story. I'm trying to think.
That's PG enough to share.
A lot of crazy moments that happened in the clubhouse. So I'm trying to think of my number one.
You might have to go 3. That way he doesn't have to
There you
cut out
go.
anything.
3.
3. All right.
Your time's ticking, so they might get cut off. So.
I can't really nail it down to like single ones.
I'll make it easier. Who's the centerpiece of most of those moments? If there's one guy or a group of 2 guys that make those funny moments happen.
Louis Spentor, Harry, Rodney Tenney. Having all those guys in the clubhouse every day, there will be something. It'll be another memory for the books every day. Every day that I see those guys.
Everybody's so unique.
Yeah.
It's a melting pot of
This clubhouse
personalities.
is unique, and it's amazing to see.
Yeah. Alex,
Awesome.
sign us off, man. Sign us off out of this thing.
Well, thank you for watching the Game Report. For Dave, for Chad, for Kee, I'm Alex Coil, and we'll see you next week. So hope it's a good week.
See you guys.
Let's do it.